Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to address you tonight. Like many of my fellow attendees, I am here to express my concerns over the proposed abbreviated school calendar for the 2014-2015 school year. You will hear many valid arguments for why these 6 days are simply too valuable to dismiss from the calendar. And I am certainly of the opinion that the students of District 205 cannot afford to have their educations jeopardized by an abbreviation to the school calendar. However, I would like to take a moment here tonight to discuss the issue in a somewhat broader context. CUSD 205 does not exist in a vacuum. Rather, it is one node on an expansive network that comprises the Illinois educational system. When faced with difficult, contentious, or unforeseen circumstances, the course you chart as a school board must not be determined solely by your personal convictions, but also by heeding the example of your peers and listening to the whispered wisdom of history. I have spent some time researching teacher strikes in Illinois over the past 10 years and have uncovered 16 instances of teacher strike during that period. They are Minooka in 2004-05, Harlan in 04-05, and again 07-08, Neoga in 06-07, Danville in 2010-11, Illini Bluffs in 11-12. In 2012-13, we had Rockford, North Shore, Carpentersville, Grays Lake, West Chicago, Evergreen Park, Lake Forest, Prairie Grove, and the Chicago Public Schools. 2012-13 was a very busy year. And in 2013-14, Mount Olive. Now, I cannot claim this list to be comprehensive. My research was driven by Google and word of mouth, and there are very likely a few strikes that I missed. However, I feel this list is sufficient to draw conclusions about how school districts generally choose to proceed once a strike is over and classes resume. These work stoppages ranged from a single day to multiple weeks and were called over a variety of issues. Some bitter and contentious, some were swift and amicable. The one common thread that seems to bind them all together is that once educators returned to the classroom, the vast majority of affected districts strove to make the school calendar whole. Of the 16 incidents of teacher strike cited, 14 resulted in a school calendar compliant with state law. Neoga, following a work stoppage lasting 12 days, fell one attendance day short at 173. And then we come to Illini Bluffs. After a protracted and rancorous collective bargaining process in Illini Bluffs CUSD 327, the school board voted to abbreviate their school calendar to 169 attendance days. And after studying the case of District 327, I am supremely thankful that they did, because they provided us both with the exception that proves the rule and a dire warning for the situation we face here today. Students, parents, faculty, and taxpayers in Illini Bluffs were shocked and outraged that the Illini Bluffs School Board chose to enact a punitive calendar and dock teachers for exercising their right to strike. In the days that followed, the community of Illini Bluffs began to organize against the school board's decision. Pressure on the school board reached such intensity that incumbent school board president Dennis Brown, one of the fiercest advocates for the abbreviated calendar, said in March 2013, quote, "There has to be a better dialogue between school officials and the community and the teachers. If the board has to change for that to happen, I'm fine with that. If the board has outlived its value, then it is time for the board to change, pure and simple." Mr. Brown's words proved prophetic. In the subsequent school board election, he was the bottom vote getter in a field of 6 candidates. A fellow incumbent was also dismissed, and a third chose not to run for re-election. The rifts caused by the decision of the Illini Bluffs School Board are only now beginning to heal. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, you may claim that the loss of 6 attendance days falls squarely on the shoulders of the educators of this district, but a growing body of evidence refutes that claim. Your peers on school boards across this state, when faced with the same decision you now face, overwhelmingly chose to work to restore the days lost to a strike. The communities of CUSD 205 are already becoming galvanized against the proposal of a shortened calendar, much as they did in Illini Bluffs. As students, parents, and taxpayers, we roundly reject that a loss of 6 attendance days is to the benefit of the school district and the community. You are all elected to act as good stewards of this district in accordance with its philosophy statement and the example set by your peers and predecessors. You face a critical choice, perhaps the most important our school district has ever faced. I urge you, restore the days, begin the healing process, establish a better dialogue, and be the good stewards that we elected you to be. Thank you for your time.